Hello and welcome to the Con Couple. I'm Richard.
I'm Caroline. You remember to turn my mic on, right?
Yes, I did.
Cool. More professional.
Very, very professional. And we go to a bizarre number of cons every year.
You almost F-bombed there.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I would say we go to too few cons.
One of these days I'm going to impress on you the importance of a good, consistent introduction.
This is a good, consistent introduction. I set the line. I think we go to too few cons. It's the same as it is every single week. It's great. Also, this is the only thing that's stopping us from attending random people's birthday parties.
Yeah, you did point that out to me this weekend.
Listen, if you make your event on Facebook public, I'm going to assume that I can go to it. Doesn't matter what birthday it is, and I will bring you a gift. So, and I'll try to make it better than everyone else's gifts because I'm competitive like that.
Okay, this episode's off to a great start. Where were we this week, honey?
Causeacon.
Yep, we were in Causeacon in Beckly, West Virginia.
You said it right.
Yeah, I actually did. I thought we were driving to Kentucky this weekend when we set off. It's fine. That's just because I get confused by US states.
You can't pick Ohio out on a map.
Yes, I can.
After I told you 3 times where it was, and you couldn't 2 months ago.
Yes, and then I got it wrong, and then I learned from the error of my mistakes, and I can now do it right. That's how you're supposed to do things. You make mistakes and you learn from them.
Which direction? I'm not even going to go with this because it's just sad.
Yeah. So, Causeacon, relatively small, but extremely fun anime convention in Beckley.
You literally just said it.
Yeah, it's going great, guys. Usual disclaimers before we go any further. The Con Couple is a podcast that we record in our car on the way home from the convention.
And as a reminder, we do these disclaimers every episode because people tend to listen to the episode that's about the con they were at, which is absolutely fine and great.
Yep.
But we want to verify that we are not violating any laws by recording in our car because we use hands-free lapel mics, even if Richard's not doing a good job of staying in the lane right now.
We're turning around a corner. It's fine. So, Causeacon is... What do we want to say about this? Should we start with the venue?
Yeah, we can start with the venue. So Causeacon is a small local con. Like a lot of cons, it's not for profit. Your ears need to pop.
There we go. That was satisfying.
It's a small local con that tends to be run in a convention center that I think is normally used for rodeo stuff, I would assume. I don't really know what else goes on there. It's a venue that does have free parking, which is great. Has kind of a main atrium area where there's stadium seating. The vendors hall is in the kind of dome or interior of that arena where you would typically see a sporting event. And the panels and stuff are in rooms around that area.
Mm-hmm. In a sort of, I wouldn't call it a separate section, but there's sort of 2 parts for the walkway between them. Is probably the best way to describe that.
For ticket prices, it tends to be a bit cheaper than most standard cons, $40 a ticket, and I did buy fairly last minute, because as you remember last week, we didn't fully decide we were going to this one until this week.
Yeah, we went to it last year and we had a lot of fun, but a combination of other stuff, we weren't 100% sure what we wanted to be doing this weekend. We'll get into the reason specifically why.
A little bit of that, part of it's just it's end of the semester for me, which is...
It's time when your brain is a little frazzled.
Yeah, it's just my brain's going 400 different directions. I want the semester to be over so I can have summer brain, although the transition to summer brain is difficult, so... But that's the space. It's pretty open, straightforward. Your ears need to pop again?
I just popped them again.
Okay.
This is fun.
Richard's not used to living around mountains.
I've been living in Ohio for the past several years. Also, I'm English. We have a couple of mountains. You and I climbed one of them once.
It was a hill.
Yeah. It's about as bad as it gets in the UK.
Anyway.
So yeah.
That's the venue space.
Yep.
Pretty open, straightforward. This is in a more rural area than most cons.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, unless you are somebody who's listening to this who was at Causeacon, I'm going to assume you don't know where Beckly is. I'm not going to describe where Beckly is because I don't really understand it much more than it's in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So...
When we're currently driving on the I-64, that's about as specific as I can get.
Yeah.
So, relatively straightforward, simple venue.
Mm-hmm.
My only real complaint about it as a venue for this convention is that the corridors are a little narrow.
Corridor's a little narrow. This year the weather was fine. We did attend it last year. It was a little bit warmer that weekend, so it got a bit stuffy inside. But again, if you're in Beckly, I don't think you have that many options for where to go if you want to host a convention, so I'm pretty sure that's the space that they can use.
I think it is. And again, for the most part, it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
They did make some changes between last year and this year in terms of how they laid things out.
Yeah.
They added a dedicated D&D tabletop RPG kind of space, which we didn't go in purely because we weren't attending any of those specific events, and we didn't want to bother the people who were.
Yep.
But we were in that room a little bit last year, and I suspect it worked quite well for its function.
Mm-hmm.
And they separated effectively that kind of gaming out from the board gaming room, which was now at the far back, which I think was a much better space for it.
Yeah, they do bingo in that room, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which is a very popular event at Causeacon, so I'm glad that they had a bigger room that fit everyone in it comfortably.
Yeah, last year the bingo was a little overrun and a little cramped. This year everybody actually had a chair, which was a improvement over last year.
Well, it didn't seem like they had much of a board game library this year.
I did not see a board game library at all, no. I wouldn't say at all. There was maybe a dozen games on a small table, but I wasn't entirely sure if those were rentable or if that was just, yeah.
And again, as a reminder, when we criticize cons, we do recognize they're run by volunteers. Sometimes miscommunications can happen, and all of the criticism is always done with love and patience, because
we had a cracking good time.
We did, and running these events is hard. I recognize that. And sometimes just something random happens, like maybe the board games fell off a truck or something, or maybe the person who was supposed to bring the board games got sick. At a con this size, stuff like that can happen.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't really hamper a weekend, did it?
No, not in a significant way. We're mostly just... These are the things we notice and comment on as people who go to too many cons.
I would say we go to too few cons. I remember the line this time.
You did. Only 10 minutes late, but anyway.
I said it the first time, too.
So... other bits about the venue, as we mentioned, free parking. If you get there early, as we tend to, the parking's actually pretty convenient for the entrance. If you get there a little bit later, you're going to be sort of slightly further away, but
it's not bad if you don't have mobility issues, and they do have handicap parking like most venues of that size.
Yeah.
Although we don't use that, so I can't think on it. Yep. We are coming up to our first toll station. Pro tip: if you don't have an Easy Pass, Virginia toll stations only take cash.
Yep.
So make sure you bring cash.
Yep.
Which we did, but that probably means we're going to pause the recording briefly while we go through it, and then come back on once we're through it. So
yep.
We'll see you in a second.
No, we're not quite there yet. We're still a mile out.
That was a good transition that you just messed up.
Exactly.
You could have just turned it off right there, and it would have been fine.
I mean, you're the one who's actually in charge of pausing the recording, so, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Honestly. We are serious professionals. Also, $4.50 for each toll. Ugh.
This is the most West Virginian con ever. I don't feel like you should tarnish their state.
I'm not tarnishing their state. I'm commenting on how expensive their toll roads are.
But they did have to move them through mountains, so...
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely gone up since the last time, because that's definitely taped over what the original price was on the side.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll let's pause the recording for a second while we deal with this toll booth, and then we'll be back momentarily. Okay, after that not at all awkward interaction,
we're back.
We are back. So,
just as a warning, we have to go through another one of those in 20-ish miles.
Yep.
So, yay.
And
there is a way to technically get back that doesn't involve us using this. Please no one comment about that secret way, though we do know about it. It's just we don't want to drive through a bunch of back roads because we're tired.
Yeah. And it adds 20 minutes to drive home. It's not worth it. So, what was the next thing we wanted to talk about? Yes, parking. So we've talked about parking. I'm going to talk about food availability at the venue.
Okay.
Food availability here, perfectly fine. In the vendors hall, they had a sort of section that was doing, your kind of standard, chicken tenders and fries and that kind of stuff. Didn't have the opportunity to try it. People seem to be enjoying it. There was also a vendor truck outside that was doing snow cones.
And a few other stuff.
Yep. They were doing a very brisk business all
Yeah.
weekend. I think people were enjoying that. Again,
Yeah, I looked at some stuff. It looked like very creative and fun. Like
Yeah.
it was like snow cones melted with like lollies, and it looked really cute.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, I can't eat at conventions, and it's not like a accessibility thing where like there could be food available that I can eat. I physically can't. Like it's just my body will not let me. Obviously, I eat on my own time, my own way, but I can't do it
Yeah.
in a space like that. So I just don't.
so
we let that part of the review be on him. So
Yep.
you can go insult them if you want.
I'm not gonna. Okay. So the third food option at the venue was the ramen bar.
Which was popular and people seem to like.
It was popular and people seemed to like it.
You didn't.
I tried it. I found the ramen very bland. And I'm British. Like, we are the people who went all over the world stealing all their spices and then were too terrified to put any of them in our food. So I know bland food. Again,
it's cool that they have it, and like the dishes look really good. And I'm sure if you like really like ramen, which by the way, he's never tried ramen before, so I don't know if he should be the foremost like leading expert on what is good ramen.
Yeah, that's probably also a completely legitimate criticism, I will be honest. So yeah.
Also, you like the chip buddy, so your taste is clearly objectionable anyway.
The chip buddy is the greatest culinary invention on the planet.
Are you really committed to that?
Okay,
like, you're not just saying that it's good. You're saying it's the greatest culinary invention on the planet. Like, that's the level of defense you're going to with this?
Yes.
Really?
Okay, I'm not actually going to try and defend that point quite that literally, but the chip buddy is fantastic. Anyway. But yeah, personally, I was a little underwhelmed with the ramen that I tried at the ramen bar. But again, most people seem to be enjoying it throughout the weekend. We heard at least one person shout it out as their favorite thing of the weekend. It just wasn't to my personal tastes.
It's probably also like, I don't know how much in that area you could like get ramen on a regular, particularly like cooked ramen, not just the type you could buy at the store. So I think it's cool that they had that as an option.
Oh, I do adore the fact that they have it as an option, yes. It's just, I think if I was going to get food at this venue again, I would go to the vendor's hall and get the chicken tenders rather than the ramen bar.
And again, this is mild criticism. It's not like...
Oh yeah, this totally ruined my weekend.
Shut up. Thing is, I'm on enough groups that I know people who say crap like that.
Language.
I'm not sure if that like gets past the like PG filter.
I honestly don't know either. But yeah. So, again, I found the ramen bar a little disappointing, but I finished my bowl. Like, it wasn't like in any way severely off-putting. Any more pep for my personal taste.
Like, it looked good. Like, I wanted some of it, but I couldn't eat it. So
yeah.
But they did have food options, which is great.
Yep.
And again, in a venue like this, they don't have hotels attached. One or two people, I imagine, might have gotten a hotel, but this is primarily a local con a lot of the time. So I don't know if anyone besides us drives it. Yeah. We got an Airbnb,
which we usually do
for any con that we have to is too far away to drive to.
Yep.
We got the same Airbnb we got last year, and we're not an Airbnb review podcast. We're not going to talk a lot about it, but
it was fine. There's a reason why we went back to it.
Partially, it's because it's pretty much the only one in Beckly that I could find. It's not like a 30-minute drive, but it's also good. So
yeah. But yeah. So, is there anything else we want to talk about before we start getting into like?
So you want to talk about the vendors hall now, or you want to do that later?
No, we can talk about it now.
Okay.
So vendors hall, as we mentioned, is located inside the sort of domed sports arena complex part of the venue. It's not the biggest vendors hall we've been to, but it does feel very local. Like, I get the impression that a lot of these are small local businesses, that kind of stuff, which I generally prefer in a vendors hall over the mass market stuff that turns up at every big vendors hall and big con.
Yeah, there's a lot of like local stuff. There is some of the same local stuff we tend to see, like crochet stuff that's very common at vendors, or like knitted stuff. But they also have like people who handmade like plushies, which I like a little bit more than the crocheted plushies.
Yep.
We bought a knife goose.
You're going to explain that sentence.
We bought a goose that's carrying a little knife in its beak that somebody very clearly hand stitched together and stuffed. And the knife is like magnetic, and it comes out of it. And it's a plushie, and it's perfectly safe, but it's very cute. And it's somebody who likes geese a lot. I'm glad we got it.
Yeah.
We also got
I was going to say, I think it's a very specific reference to Untitled Goose Game.
Yes.
If you've seen the famous still from that game of the goose walking around with a knife in its mouth. Yeah. We also got a spooky Bulbasaur.
Mm-hmm. Which is a Bulbasaur with a pumpkin on its back for
Yep.
jack-o'-lantern, which was very cute and also handmade. And yeah, generally most of them the vendors I thought was very good quality, like local vendors who had a lot of handmade stuff.
Yeah.
There also was a board game vendor who we spent a little bit of time with this weekend who is doing like a board game box that I want to shout out.
Yep.
I don't know a specific name, but
again, we are strongly considering subscribing to that because
Yeah.
they send you a box each week.
Or a box each month.
Each month,
And you
yeah.
can choose which boxes you get and don't get because
Board game might not be to your personal taste.
yeah, and you can elect not to get it that month if you don't like it.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. I should probably also mention, do you have anything else you want to say about the vendors hall?
Nothing specific.
Liked it a lot. Like, very great vendors hall, I think.
Yeah. Again, probably pushing the limit of how many stalls it can reasonably accommodate, like 2 or 3 more, and I think you'd be starting to run into issues of logistics, but that just means it's well organized. Like, they have the numbers of vendors that they can reasonably fit in the space, and I think that's a good thing. Yeah. Do you have something else to add to that?
So, I'm trying to find the name of the charity, but it's called Causeacon because, again, they're a charity con, so they support a given charity. I'm still a bit unclear on what exactly of what they make goes to charity, but they raised almost $60,000 this weekend, so...
Yeah.
And we don't know if that's really over the course of, like, the last year or just this weekend. Sorry if we don't really understand the, like, ins and outs of how their relationship with the charity works, but regardless of whether they did that this weekend or over the course of the year, that's still a very impressive number.
That is, like, good job.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think at this point, get on to chronological.
Yeah, so you want to do any of the ongoing con stuff like the ribbon game now, or you want to do that at the end? Because they had several, like, ongoing things that they were doing this weekend.
No, I think it's probably worth mentioning now.
Alright, so you want to explain what the ribbon game is?
Certainly. For anybody who's not familiar, the ribbon game is... There is a certain type of ribbon you can get that are known as convention ribbons. I don't actually know if they get used for anything else.
They do for professional conventions too, because I've seen them there. It's just you don't really collect them at professional conventions. They're designed to basically be both at a like con fan convention and at a professional convention. They were originally meant to like designate people. So one thing you put on these ribbons sometimes is pronouns, which is pretty awesome. It's like she, her, he, him, they, them.
Yep.
So you can see what people's pronouns are. At professional conventions, you might also like put someone's title on a ribbon, so they could grab a ribbon with their title or something like that. So they were originally meant to be kind of an informative thing that you put on at a con to give people like more information about yourself, kind of like a name tag, but just with additional information.
Yeah, and they are frequently attached to con badges.
Yeah, and I think they actually got started at professional conventions because I remembered seeing them in professional conventions before I saw them in like fan con spaces.
Yeah.
But because they're fun, shiny, sticky things you can stick onto your badge, people got really into collecting them after and not just using them as like professional designators anymore.
Yeah. So this con goes very heavily into the ribbon game, which is pretty much what it sounds like. It's who can collect the most ribbons across a weekend. And while you can order your own ribbons in large batches, that's definitely poor form of the ribbon game. And kind of the point of the ribbon game is to get lots and lots of different ones.
So with most cons, Causeacon and a few others, if they're participating in the ribbon game, if you don't have your own ribbons to get out, you can group order with the con. You may or may not have to pay for it depending on how the con is doing the ribbon game, but it'll typically be cheaper than buying ribbons by yourself because if they like order 1,000 ribbons, the cost per ribbon goes down, so you'll be paying like significantly less than if you ordered 30 ribbons on your own. If you ordered 30 ribbons as part of like a group of people who are ordering 1,000 ribbons, you'll be paying way less per ribbon. So a lot of cons let you sign up as a block and then give you your ribbons that you ordered when you go to the con.
Yeah.
Which I think is what they did.
I believe so, yes, because they did mention that.
They also had a station where they had just kind of some blank white ribbons set up, and you could like color them and make your own ribbons, which is super cute.
That's really cool.
And we did not do that because we do have our own ribbons now for the Con Couple podcasts.
We do.
We handed out this weekend for the first time.
Yep, they're shiny and rainbow. They arrived last week.
Yep.
So I was trying to get into the habit of handing them out to anybody who was complimenting your dress.
Mm-hmm. Going forward, we also have a special ribbon where we say a code word in the podcast and you can get a ribbon. But we're not going to make people listen to this podcast to get a ribbon because that seems lame.
Yeah. Again, we'll think about it. We'll figure some stuff out.
Nice.
Nice.
We just passed the number 69.
Of course we did.
So that's the ribbon game. They also had, I'm trying to think what it's actually called. It's like multiple cons have this. It's a game where like characters battle each other.
Oh, Causeacon Madness.
Yes. Basically, people submit the names of characters, and throughout the course of the year, they vote on which character is their favorite in like 1v1 matches. So you might have like Bulbasaur versus Darth Vader or something like that. And you would vote on who would win in that matchup, then move on to the next round. This goes on throughout the year, and then at Causeacon, they typically do the Final Four matchup.
Yeah. So again, if you're familiar with March Madness, the basketball.
You're not familiar with March Madness, so I don't know why you're explaining this metaphor, but it's a similar bracket-style tournament. It's just you're voting on which character you like in a given matchup.
Yeah.
For any reason you want. Maybe you like the character, maybe you hate the other character. They're not actually fighting or anything. You're just kind of pitting characters against each other for fun. Yeah. And Causeacon does it where you vote throughout the beginning of 2025 this year, or 2026 next year.
Yep.
And the Final Four matchup happens at the con. So on Friday, I think, to Saturday, you're voting on the Final Four matchup, and on Sunday, you're voting on the Final Two matchup.
Yeah, so this year's winner was Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, I know the Headless Horseman was in there. The Knight from Monty Python was in there. The limbless version of him was in there.
Specifically the limbless version, yes. I mean, he's an ankle biter. You've got to be careful of it.
Yeah. And Mr. Rogers won, which I think everyone kind of knew going into the weekend was going to happen.
Yeah, I think once he made it down to the last 16 or so, people were pretty confident he had a good shot at the title.
Yeah, and they announced the winner at closing ceremonies. Also, I think they posted on their Facebook page. So again, it's a cute kind of game you can play without the weekend. You can also when you're voting either in person or online, you can write comments and they read them off in closing. It's very cute.
It is. So, yeah.
Those are the two, I think, kind of ongoing things this weekend. So.
I believe so. So, you want to pull up the schedule?
I will try. My phone has to convince itself that it's in the right area because it's always you're roaming, whatever. You could also just remember what we did.
I mean, that requires using my brain and my mouth at the same time. That's really hard.
Do you remember the first thing we did? Because it's kind of obvious.
It was opening ceremonies.
Yes, that's correct.
So, yeah, so we started off with opening ceremonies. This particular con's about a 3-hour drive for us.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first? So opening ceremonies. We don't always bother going to this at conventions. A lot of the time it depends on when we get there and a bunch of other factors.
Yeah, do you want to talk about registration before we get into that?
Yeah, that's probably worth doing. Registration at this con, dead straightforward. We booked our tickets online. We had QR codes.
Mm-hmm.
We turned up, they scanned them, they said great. They handed us our badges. And interestingly, in addition to our badges, we also got wristbands.
Mm-hmm.
Which are vinyl this year rather than paper. Which
meant I could take a shower. It was great.
Yeah, they are more durable, which is always nice. I'm not entirely sure why they feel the need to do both.
Well, I know wristbands are for day people, so they check them per day. Because sometimes you can, a lot of cons, you can buy tickets to only one day. You can buy them for a whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This con, you only get the lanyard badges if you get the whole weekend. So I think that might be a differentiating mechanism because people are going to check the wrist. And the badge really is, at this con, more than anything, it's just a place to play the ribbon game because you stick your ribbons to your badge.
Yep.
And they actually had I think it was $4 or something like that. If you were only coming for one day, you could still purchase a badge for a little bit extra, just so you could have a place to put your ribbons, which was cute.
That's cute. That is fun. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, that's because you never booked the tickets.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let us know if we're being too snarky this episode. So in addition to that, they did have bag check. Type of bag check I really don't mind. I don't like bag check where it's you can't bring in any outside food or drink. This isn't like that. It's basically just you can't have any weapons, which is fair. We don't have weapons.
We don't have weapons. We do have our con bag, which contains a couple of board games in case we have some downtime. Usually bringing in sort of our preferred caffeine delivery methods, which is soda of various types. And I also keep a thing of deodorant in there in case we need it.
Yep. Might talk about what's in our con bag on one of our off-week episodes or something like that.
Yep.
But it was fairly straightforward. Again, they just look in the bag to make sure it has no weapons in it. They don't like even take stuff out. We have a fairly big con bag, so.
Yeah, it was, again, pretty simple, pretty straightforward.
And what costumes were we wearing? So we always forget that bit.
That is true. So on Friday, we started with one of our go-tos.
Which is also what our podcast logo is, which is Hades and Persephone.
Yeah. So that's me in a leather coat, you in the big poofy multicolored ball gown.
Pink.
Yeah, well, black with pinks, with a pink cutout section and the roses attached to it. And again, that one is always a winner. Like, people like that. That was our first real, costume that we did.
It was the first thing I, made and designed, and I'm just so at home in it generally, and it always wows, so.
Yeah, you have worn it to so many conventions at this point that you can just move in it easily. It's great. So that was day one costumes.
Yes. So then we just.
I was just going to say, I didn't bother bringing my Biden to this one because I decided that the Biden that goes with Hades is worth bringing to local cons, but it's a bit of a pain fitting it in the car when we've also got to fit stuff like,
ball gowns,
and
skirts, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a prop, and generally props you're supposed to get checked.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just don't want to go through the rigmarole. Like, you should check props. I think that's a great safety thing that you definitely should do.
Absolutely.
But it's sometimes just one of those things where it's just like, I don't really want to bother bringing this and have to stand in line.
Yeah.
Although prop check and bag check were just the same table, so.
Yeah. And they were moving pretty fast.
Yes.
I'm not complaining about that. And again, if you had a prop that needed checked, they would check it, they would look at it, and then it would get a thing stuck in it that basically said, or wrapped around it, that basically said this has been checked and you're good to go. So opening ceremonies. I think at this point we just need to shout out Desi.
Yes.
So Causeacon, like all conventions, is obviously done by a group of people, but the con chair for this one is particularly
amazing?
Yeah, I was also going to go with kind of insane.
I identify with this.
Yeah. Actually, Desi does remind me of you in that regard. Insofar as, the sheer amount of work that she personally puts into this con is incredible.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more when we talk about, the specific panels she runs, but, good lord.
She thinks of literally everything. She's great at planning stuff out. She's a great present. She remembers everyone's names.
Yeah.
We saw her on the way in when we were going to registration, and she gave us a hug because she remembered us from last year.
Yeah. And granted, we are kind of memorable, but even so, that was a year ago.
Yeah.
And that was, that meant a lot to us. That was sweet.
Yeah, she does amazing work. This is clearly her passion project, and I will say all the volunteers that work with her also do a fantastic and awesome job.
Yeah.
And this con is part of a number of events that I think that group kind of sort of puts on. Fright Nights are another event that I know they do that are probably more popular even than this, based on what they said. We'll talk more about that when we get to the Fright Nights panel we went to. But they do a lot of, just basically everything they do is really cool. They're starting a walking club, I think, in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Which, there is a virtual component, which I might be tempted to just kind of log our hours walking, since we walk a lot anyway. Just go ahead and do for fun.
Again, we do have a small dog to walk, so,
Yep. See how much Emma levels up. But again, I would check out anything this group does just generally. It's fantastically detailed for what it is. It's very much a creative passion. And we go to a lot of cons where you can tell that people just do stuff because they think that, they should do it and kind of put, a low effort into it. Just the ribbon game alone. You can tell she puts so much effort into doing it. It's better done here than I think it is at any other con.
Yeah. They, even during closing ceremonies, they were, talking about, having plans for next year's special ribbons and,
all the things you have to do to get them. A lot of places, they just hand them out. There you, have to tell somebody a riddle or, go on a quest. It's so much fun.
Yeah, if we had the time and the mental energy this weekend to invest more heavily into that, we could have, spent half the weekend just focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what was it after opening ceremonies?
Opening ceremonies was the Farkle panel. Although I do want to say during opening ceremonies, again, it's pretty standard. They just explain to you the stuff that's going on that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Most opening ceremonies are relatively the same in this regard. Although I will say, this one, this con just gives away so much free stuff.
They
Like, pretty
really
much
do.
every event you're at, you will get something or be entered into a raffle to get something. Like, they had a raffle at opening ceremonies for something. I don't remember what it was.
I also don't, but like, yeah.
But they do this for pretty much all of their events. There's a chance to, like, win something in some capacity, big or small, and it's kind of incredible.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, before we get on to the next panel, we are coming up on that second toll booth. Thankfully, there's only 2 that we have to go through in order to get home, but, you know. So, shall we pause
No,
here?
wait. Let's continue talking.
What, in a slightly awkward manner?
Yeah, because, like, you did that the last time, so I'm doing this, and it's called Symmetry, and Symmetry's, like, good.
You sure about that?
I don't know. You're the one who says we have to have a consistent intro, so now I'm having a consistent going through toll booths thing.
Okay. We're very professional on this podcast. We're Are we a little con drunk?
Okay, you can't. Are we far enough away from
Yes,
the toll
we've got time to explain
Okay.
it.
So, con punch drunk is basically just when you have a con high after going to a con, which just means the endorphins in your brain are firing. You're super happy. You're kind of giggly. You're not actually drunk in any capacity. Neither of us have had any alcohol all weekend.
Yeah, I haven't had any alcohol in months.
Yep.
Like, I can't remember the last alcohol I had.
I can't drink because it kills my body faster than it kills most people's bodies.
Yep.
And you are a social drinker, so you don't tend to.
Yeah, like
and there's also the fact that it's hard for me to drive in a big poofy ball gown, so you have to.
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't think there was actually any alcohol available at all this weekend, which, fair, it's a family con.
We'll talk more about that, actually, when we talk about how we left the con, then.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto that. That was funny. But, yeah. So, we are coming up on that next toll road, so we will be back momentarily. And once again, we are back.
Whom the bell tolls.
So, hopefully that should be the last toll booth-paced interruption.
Or just interruption generally. We're also trying to not make this episode 3 hours long this time.
I mean, we do have a 3-hour drive home, so it's not impossible.
It's not, but I don't want to torture people.
That's fair. So, after opening ceremonies, we went to Farkle, which was a game show panel. And we had fun at that. Do we want to go into, like, the specific rules?
I might a little bit, just because, like, one of the things that I think is, I don't know, they had a new person doing game shows this time, who's a friend. I'm a bit unclear on how the, like, game show con circuit panel things work. They seem to know Grego, though, who does Causeacon, which we went to in October, which is one of the other cons that happen in West Virginia.
Yep. We love Grego. Grego does really good game show stuff.
He does. This person seemed to know him. I don't know in, like, what capacity they're actually related, but they seem to also be, like, doing game shows, and they said they worked more in the, like, upper northwest or northeast area, like New York, I assume, around there, which is cool. They were doing some interesting ones. They did Press Your Luck, and they did 2 game shows I've not heard of before. Farkle, I think, was one of those game shows. Yeah,
Farkle and Caesar Challenge was the other one.
Which I think is a dice rolling, like, you answer trivia questions, and then you roll dice, and then you try to get, like, there are 6 dice. It's kind of like a Yahtzee type game where you're trying to get triples of certain numbers, basically.
Yeah. And again, I had fun playing that. Relatively low turnout for it, and I think part of the issue was because they were doing relatively lesser known games. I don't think it was quite as clear to people what they were. So for next time, I would just stick with game show, just on the schedule.
I had to read the description to even know what that was.
Yeah, just like, Farkle brackets game show, because people love game shows at cons.
They do, particularly at this con. They're very popular.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just part of it was also that game shows kept being scheduled, like, at opposite times to each other, so that meant that, like, they were competing with other stuff.
Yeah, which was a shame, because again, I had a lot of fun. Because I got voluntold to participate. This happens a lot. Because you very much, for some reason, think that I'm a good panel participant.
I think you're a good panel participant because you understand how game shows work. You generally get on board pretty quickly with it. With Grego stuff, I will admit, just because there's somebody who, like, goes to a lot of cons but doesn't really follow any other part of geek culture pretty much at all. For any, like, trivia-based panel shows, which most of these are, I can't answer any of the questions. Like, there's maybe, like, 3 I know, so I'm not really that competitive at it, just because I can't answer any of the questions.
Yeah.
In this case, what I do like about Grego and this person who's doing some of the work off them, I'm sorry, I'm not forgetting what your name is. I'll see if I can find it on the website really quick. Is just that they do include a wide variety of trivia generally.
Yeah.
So there's video game trivia, so even though you don't watch anime, you can generally get about half the questions just because it's video game stuff.
Yeah. Which again, I had fun.
Yeah.
I lost, but I had fun losing. And here's the thing: if you're at a game show panel and you're having fun losing, it's a well-run game show panel.
Mm-hmm.
Is the best way to describe it.
And yeah, it was well done. It uses the software that Grego uses, which is very well built software.
Yeah.
She does build all himself.
Yeah.
The prizes were I think you just got
actually good.
Yeah. I think you've made about $75 in Amazon gift cards this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I have been told will be sent to me in the next couple of days once he's had a chance to purchase them and email the things to me. So here's the thing: I would do these game show panels without there being any real serious prizes, just because
they're fun.
They're fun.
I don't think we've ever really cared about winning in terms of prizes at game show panels or anything like that.
Almost never. But it is nice when somebody's willing to provide that kind of pretty decent prize.
Yeah.
I can respect that. Because again, I highly doubt he's being paid by the con to do those panels.
No, and it does mean a lot to me that they continue to do them, and there's this group of, I think, people who do those types of panels who are
people who just adore old game shows.
Which is nice to see, because I also love old game shows. It was just something that was comfort food for me growing up, was watching reruns on, when I was a kid, it was called Game Show Network. I'm sure some of you were also of that era, where it was just a cable channel that just played old game shows from all eras, from the 1950s up until what was then modern day. And I just, whenever I was sick or just needed comfort, that's what I would watch.
UK equivalent was called Challenge.
Oh, that was a station?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, it was a Sky TV channel. Which again just played a lot of old game show reruns and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I highly recommend the cons continuing booking out these people. I might take a little bit of time for their panels to, I think, catch on with an audience, but I do think if you invited that person back and they picked a few more popular game shows and they scheduled them at times that weren't opposite other stuff that was also popular, I think it really could succeed as
an entertainment. And again, the only other real thing I would say is just on the schedule, little tiny thing that just says game show. Just make it a little clearer to everybody what it is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people don't bother reading the panel descriptions online. They just look at the title and go, that sounds interesting.
Most people are not me. I do appreciate that they do have the panel descriptions online, though. Some cons don't even have them.
Yeah. That was the other thing I do briefly want to mention. They do have a printed copy of the schedule, map of the venue, just on one piece of A4. Super helpful. Love it when cons have that.
Yes, and they also have stuff posted on all the walls, which is amazing.
Also super helpful. So yeah, was it the Danganronpa battle after that?
No, it was Video Game Name That Tune. So we did take, there was a bit of a break. We went around the vendors hall, made our purchases, which I think was smart, because a lot of stuff we wanted was sold out by the next day.
Yeah.
So we got in there before anything really.
Yeah, we got in there relatively early, made some purchases of things we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you're going to a con, that's a good time to go to the vendors hall. It's first thing on the Friday, before the stuff you might want is sold out.
Mm-hmm. Sunday is also a good time. It's a little bit less crowded. If there's stuff that you don't think is going to sell terribly fast, you're kind of iffy on. The risk with that is, again, it might sell out before you get there.
But it's also not unknown on Sunday for vendors to be doing they're probably going to be more willing to haggle on Sunday. Is probably the best way to describe it.
I mean, I will say that it says something about this con that we bought as much stuff as we did at the vendors hall, because we don't typically tend to. But it was a combination of, I think, prices that were more fair, actual artisanal vendors. We also bought, I think, 3 or 4 of Desi's paintings, just because we really wanted to support her, and she does good artwork.
Yeah, we bought 3 of those. They're in the back.
Yeah.
One of them was just you somehow.
Yep. Those were just cute, so they were very cute. So After that was video game, name that too.
which was pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It was a collection of musical things from video games. Fairly simple. Stick your hand out, shout out the answer. If you got the video game right, you got a lollipop. If you could also name the actual name of the song, you got a second lollipop.
And this was run by Desi, and
Yep.
she put together a whole playlist. Like, it was prepared in advance of just what video game she was going to go through.
Yep. It was a lot of fun.
It was also fun.
The general hilarity of the video game music occasionally getting interrupted by adverts because she was using YouTube for it was also like, she knows how to play a crowd and play off that as funny.
Yeah, it was incredibly funny. And I get that you can't really, it's not worth buying YouTube Premium just to, have ad breaks skipping, one panel.
Yeah.
Not that you should have to anyway. So, plus it was funny. It's honestly better that it happened that way.
Yeah.
And she timed it pretty well because I think pretty much everyone got a lollipop by the end.
Yeah. Yeah, insofar as I think at the end, she basically reached the point where we had a couple of minutes left on the panel, and she was like, I should technically call it there, but we've got we've got 2 lollipops left, so we're getting rid of these. So, good work on her part for, again, that level of planning.
Yeah.
I hate to think how much prep work and planning she has to do.
Yeah. So then speaking of planning, you want to talk about her next panel?
Yeah. So next.
We did have to, just because I always talk about room clearing, and if you listen to this podcast, you know my opinions on it. Causeacon's great. Generally, you can walk in wherever you want to go, as long as they're not doing any type of actual setup.
Yeah.
And Danganronpa, the next panel required setup, so she asked everyone to leave. That was completely fine. We just waited outside.
So, if you are not familiar with the video game series Danganronpa, here is the very, very basic setup. You take a bunch of characters who are all the ultimate something. So, for example, one of the ones in the first game is the ultimate baseball star. You put them together in a high school, and then you let them murder each other. Or specifically, you force them to murder each other. The goal is that the only way you're ever leaving this high school is by successfully getting away with murder. So, somebody gets killed, the rest, everybody then has a period of time to investigate the murder, and then have a trial where they figure out who done it. If they successfully figure out who did it, then they all get to keep living, but the murderer doesn't. It's a very bizarre series.
It's very popular, though. I think it's had 3 iterations, and it is a good quality thing. And we've not really participated in them. We've seen versions of this panel done at other cons, but nothing close to this well.
Yeah, because most of the time, if you see a version of this panel done at a con, there will be a script, frequently just taken from one of the existing games, and you will just have a panel reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Desi doesn't do that.
No.
This is why she reminds me of you in terms of being completely extra. So, she writes her own mystery, creates her own characters, draws the artwork for them, which is so good a job of being in the style of the games that when we went to this panel last year, I assumed she'd just taken footage from one of the games, because she also animates it, ropes in a bunch of people to voice act it, and I'm not kidding. Last year I assumed we were just watching footage she'd ripped from one game. When I realized halfway through that she'd made it all herself, I was completely blown away. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't say this often, but I would say it in this particular case. It is worth purchasing tickets to this con just to go to this panel. 100%.
Yeah, put it in main events next year.
Seriously.
I don't know why you don't do that already.
It's so popular, as it should be. Yeah. This year she even printed off individual envelopes and put them on everyone's seat that had stickers just for souvenirs for everyone, and profiles on the characters and a school map which helped in solving one of the mysteries.
Yep.
It's incredible. It's such a high quality thing. I can't describe it any other way than that. It's so amazingly done. It made me want to play the actual game, and I hate video games. God, I'm not against people who play them. It's just not something I would have been remotely interested in had I not gone to this incredibly amazing panel.
Again, you are welcome to borrow my copy of the first one. I've actually got the second one as well.
Okay, I want to go back to praising Desi. She's awesome. Yeah, it's just amazing. This time they had one of the celebrity people. One of the things that's nice about small cons is celebrities actually go to panels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't just hang out and try to make money. So I don't know who either of the celebrities actually were. I'll look them up briefly. One was Alex Vincent.
Who I believe is most famous for, I can't remember, did he get killed by Chucky or did he survive Chucky?
I have no clue.
I think he survived Chucky because I think he was the kid in the first Child's Play movie, something like that. But
He was one, and then let me see. The other person was the person who was there. I think does voice acting that might have been Danganronpa.
yeah, I think he was in one of the Danganronpa games.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Apparently, did like when he knew he was coming to this con, did volunteer to voice one of the characters, and she had to unfortunately tell him that she'd already finished making it.
She's already planning the one for next year. Yeah, because of how amazing and extra she is. Like, I adored this panel.
Yeah,
it's one of the best and most unique things I've ever been to at a con. I seriously do mean it. Like, it is worth buying a ticket to this con just to go to this panel.
again, I only really have two criticisms about it. One, put it in main events because it's popular enough that it probably should be, and two, you're a little mean about how quickly you kill us. It's so fun. Like we this is 2 years in a row where we've got so close to like failing that you've had to start going easy on us towards the end. My only recommendation to change it is when we get to the sequence where we're all like, we need to like interrupt the testimony and like point out what's wrong.
There's like a trial scene in Danganronpa where basically you have to prove a certain fact or disprove a certain fact. So a person will say a thing, and then you have to basically pause or object at the right moment with the right piece of evidence to prove something.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's just in a room with like 30 to 40 to 50 people. Like, there were a lot of people in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of which are pretty young. Like, people are going to get excited and just yell pause at the wrong moment because they're so excited. So letting the thing play through once, I think, would help in a room of that size, just because it's kind of hard to get a room of 30 people to not jump up too early when they're all very excited.
Yeah, basically, give us one clean read through of the entire like sequence of arguments before we're allowed to interrupt, and then let us interrupt. That's my like. When my criticism is that minor, like, good lord, this panel is good.
It's so good. Like, it's one of the best panels I've ever been to at a con, if not the best. It's so good.
Yeah.
And the voice acting is also incredible. Like, all the people who play roles in this do a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah.
Although everyone was very upset that the coal miner died this time. I mentioned that this is probably the most West Virginian of any of the cons we attend. And I mean that in a very positive sense, because it's all the positive ideologies and attitudes that embody West Virginia. But that does mean if you're going to put a coal miner in a West Virginia game, the character's probably going to be popular.
Yeah, I think she freely admitted she was not expecting the ultimate coal miner to be the most popular character this year, but, you know. And then they died.
Yep.
They weren't even the murderer, they were the murder victim.
Yeah. Apparently the person who was in Danganronpa did think she could actually, like, write for Danganronpa, which I actually think she could. Like, what she puts together are great. All of her characters, like, manage to have, like, depth and personality, even though it's a 2-hour event. Like, you feel like you know all of them and how they think and what they care about. Like, they're very, like, for characters that are archetypes, they're very, like, well-detailed people. It's great.
Oh, yeah. I wanted that comedian dead, though.
Yeah. He did die. I don't know, like, I presume we're allowed to spoil this because it's not something you can, like, do?
As far as I'm aware, she puts in all this effort, and this thing gets run once.
Yeah, I really wish she could run it at other places, just because it's so good.
Like, you know, she literally just, you know, at the end of the panel, she's just like, yep, first come, first serve. If you want to grab the character portraits off the walls, don't be greedy and take more than one, but otherwise have at them.
Yep.
Like,
you got prizes if you got the murderer right.
Yeah, there was a special ribbon. And like, good lord.
Like, I'm almost, like, actively crying with how, like, amazing this event is.
So, yeah. Put it in main events next year, please.
Put it in main events and just have the audience, like, different sections of it, like, take turns at whose turn it is to guess something or something like that if you need more breakup or something like that. Or just run it twice. Because, like, it's so good.
It is.
Okay. Have we gushed about Desi's amazingness enough? We'll do it again later.
We'll probably come back to that subject. What on earth did we do after that? Because that ran like 5 until 7.
5 until 7, I think the formal dance was after that, which was the last thing we did.
Yeah.
The fantasy masquerade.
Yeah. Which, basically fine.
It was kind of more poorly attended than it was last year.
Yeah.
Like, I have fun slow dancing with you, and I do like that they're... So, the Fantasy Masquerade's kind of 2 dances, that and the Galactic Rave on Saturday, which we didn't go to, just because we were exhausted. We'll explain that when we get to Saturday.
We'll explain Saturday.
The Fantasy Masquerade is meant to be more of a formal ball. Dejing mentioned last year she wanted to start enforcing a dress code more, just so it didn't become like just an event that was taken over by small children running around, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Everyone there was very well dressed. It just meant that it was kind of not that well attended.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only an hour long, which is pretty short for a masquerade ball, too.
But again, given the number of people there, it probably was the right length of time.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good with it. I do kind of wish they played songs that were a little bit more stuff I knew, just because it is... I do like that she has a playlist set, but I do kind of wish that you could, like, request songs and stuff like that. Like, obviously, they would have to be on theme, but as long as they were, like, slow waltzes and stuff like that, which we know a few, I think.
Yeah.
Might be kind of fun if you could, like, request songs, or they had, like, just somebody there manning a DJ booth to let you, like, request stuff.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Because it would be fun to, like, have you request a song and then, like, bow to your partner and go out in the middle of the floor and have that be your song or something like that.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Somebody did also ask us to, like, take our bag outside during that, which, again...
Don't really have a problem doing that. Would have preferred if we just kind of got warned on the way in, hey, we don't want you leaving your bag around, do you mind taking it back to your car before you go in? That's mostly... I want to clarify, the person who came up to us and asked us to take our bag back to the car did not do a single thing wrong.
Yeah, and
Very
it's not
polite.
bad that you even have that policy. I don't mind not having bags in events like that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, we wish that we knew going into the venue, just so we could have dropped it off before we went into the room.
Yeah.
Which is, again, extremely minor in terms of a critique.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's something that we don't like feeling like we've disobeyed a rule.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it just makes us feel like we did something wrong. And again, the person was not making us feel like we did anything wrong whatsoever. It's just one of those things that, for me, is always a bit stressful when, like, I feel like I misunderstood something. So that's more of a me thing than it is anything else.
It is. But, again, just a little warning at the door.
And yeah, I do hope we can find or think of ways to, like, make this event more popular. Because I do have a lot of fun at it. And I do think, like, maybe a couple tweaks, like letting people choose music and stuff like that, it might be a little bit more...
Well attended?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't really know why it's not well attended anyway. I think it might just be the dress code. What do you think?
Well, the thing is, I get the impression the dress code is you're either in cosplay or you're in formal attire. And I think maybe just highlighting that fact a little more obviously somewhere, but again, I'm not sure exactly where you would do that. Like, maybe just an announcement at opening ceremonies?
I still had fun with it, though, just because I like dancing with you, and I like cosplay that does this event.
Yeah.
So. And I imagine the rave on Saturday night was better attended, although we don't know.
We didn't go to it, we don't know. So, that, I think, was that the last thing we did on Monday?
Yeah.
On Friday?
For a variety of reasons, this con we did play a little bit more going to bed early than we normally do, in part because the stuff we'll talk about tomorrow, or in like 2 seconds.
Yep.
And in part just because it's the end of the semester. My brain is in 20 different places right now.
Yeah. And again, we had an Airbnb to get to and check into, and like, we could have stayed for the Whose Line Is It Anyway panel.
They also had a karaoke panel, which I know you like.
I do enjoy karaoke panels a lot.
But we were just tired, and we just kind of wanted to get back to the Airbnb and relax.
And again, that's not on the con.
No.
That's we are a little fried at the moment with, end of semester stuff and a bunch of other things, and the thing that we'll talk about. So, then it was Saturday.
Yeah.
So, Saturday, got up normalish time, or normalish for me.
Stuff at the con typically starts around 10.
Yep.
We were up at about 7, so we just kind of hung around the Airbnb for a bit.
Yep.
And then we got there pretty much at 10 when they were opening.
Yep. Got a decent parking space again. Went to the first panel of the day, which was the charity panel. Or
Yes.
a charity panel. For a dog shelter.
Yeah. called the Pause Play Dog Show. Basically, they bring in a bunch of dogs, typically about 4 or 5. The dog show lasts about 15 minutes because it's only 4 or 5 dogs. Let us kind of put the dogs in costume, walk them across the stage, and then you can pet the dogs. That's the panel.
Yeah, the degree to which the dogs cooperate with the costumes is questionable, but
one destroyed their costume on the way to the con.
Yeah. And they were just like, yeah, we weren't entirely sure what to do about that. But again,
if you're working with a panel with animals, it's just, I think,
you kind of expect there's going to be some shenanigans.
It's a panel where you pet dogs
fine.
and hopefully dogs can get adopted. It's kind of hard to mess it up as a concept.
Yeah, and they did not mess it up in any way. Like,
No.
yeah, they started a little bit late, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, they were scheduled to start at 10, but the con also opened at 10, so I think it's actually probably good that they started a little bit late just so we could actually like get into the room.
Yeah, I did also notice, or you noticed, that the online schedule listed the start time for that panel as 10:30.
Yes.
Whereas the physical schedule listed it as 10, and they started at about 10:15 and apologized for being late. So
I don't know what's going on there. It did the same thing with the event we went to on Sunday. It might just be a schedule confusion thing, but
yeah,
30 minutes at the beginning of the day is not really a big deal.
Yeah, again, it's just if you turn up at 10:30 because that's what the online schedule says, sorry, you missed the pooches.
I will say something that is nice about this con, generally we didn't mention earlier, in relation to dogs, is as far as I can tell, you can just bring your pets.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of pets at this con. It was awesome.
There were a couple of people with dogs.
One person had a giant rabbit.
Yep.
There was a turtle that was just in the vendor's hall that took laps of the vendor's hall.
That was Achilles.
Yep.
I don't think he was a pet. I think that was one of the vendors had him for some reason.
Well, I think that he was their pet. I don't think what they were selling had anything related to him.
Yeah.
They're also giving out free candy, though. They just couldn't give him like food or something like that.
Yeah.
They tied balloons to him the next day, though, because I think people kept bumping into him.
Yeah. Again, that turtle got nominated to be in the bracket next year, so we'll see if he makes it, because they basically said that you can nominate anybody you like. Mm-hmm. They pick out 64 at random, and that's how just by kind of pulling them from a hat, and that's how the bracket gets set up. So
but yeah, it is fun to be at a con where they're just pets.
Yeah,
like we would bring Emma, except one, she's shy. Two, like as you can expect when you have to stay in an Airbnb and you're in a part of the country that doesn't have a lot, like making a pet or bringing a pet just makes that harder.
Yeah, so. The Airbnb we were at explicitly says no smoking and no pets.
Yes,
we don't smoke. And we didn't bring Emma.
Yes. But again, it was fun to go around, and I like the dog panel because we got to pet all the dogs. And they were very good. I was in we did not talk about what we were wearing yet that day.
This is true. So, once again, you were in a ball gown. Specifically, you were in your Starry Night dress.
Yes, I was wearing Starry Night. I didn't do the full Starry Night makeup, which I haven't actually done yet this year. I want to get back into doing it, which is where I paint Starry Night across my face. But I don't like doing that in an Airbnb because it's messy. So. Yeah. But I might do that over the summer. We'll see. Yeah.
We also forgot part of your makeup stuff, which meant I did not do my ear this time to be Van Gogh. Mm-hmm. And in the morning, I also just completely forgot my hat. I think we were a little scatterbrained on Saturday morning.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But we got to pet dogs, and they were very good about keeping the dogs off my dress, and I could still pet them, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Although, again, going to those panels is dangerous because it makes me want to acquire more dogs.
Emma would be very jealous if we went away for a con for a weekend and came back with another dog. You know that.
I do. But hopefully those dogs got adopted. It was super fun to see them, and it's cute that they have this event.
Oh, absolutely. So, next thing was, I believe, the Fright Night panel.
Yeah.
Which is a relatively short panel, only about 30 minutes.
Yes. It was mostly about volunteering or getting hired to work at Fright Nights, which is their local Halloween house thing that they do, which is run by the same group of people. Desi's sister Chelsea, I think, is in charge of that one though.
Yeah.
It might seem weird that we're going to this, given that we don't want to get hired to work at a haunted house, but I like going to panels where people talk about how stuff works behind the scenes at their event. Mm-hmm. Those are one of my favorite types of panels to go to. So even though we have no interest in working at a haunted house, I like learning about it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cute.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see all the work that went into that and how they care about that just as much as they care about this con and all the stuff that they do to make that event work.
Absolutely.
They also were kind of confused as to why we were there. But that was fine.
Again, we are from 3 hours away. we're not going to be making a 3-hour drive to come to to a nightly job.
Yeah. And we don't really like haunted houses, so we probably wouldn't go to that event just because neither of us.
Neither of us are big, like, scared.
Like, you
people.
scare super easy. Like, ridiculously easy.
I mean, I scare about, like, actual real-world stuff super easy.
I can touch you, like, in a certain point on your body that's a public place, just to verify.
Explain that statement, please.
I can touch you in that area between your ribs.
Thank
and
you.
You scream.
I don't scream. I just twitch. No, not while I'm driving.
I was just trying to get you to make the noise.
I'm a little hyperventilating now. Thanks for that, dear. But, yeah. I might have some repressed stuff from my childhood. It's fine.
The point is, both of us are kind of easy scarers, and we don't really like the feeling of being scared.
Yeah.
We do appreciate the creativity that goes into haunted houses, and if there was ever, like, a non-scary day at a haunted house where you could, like, just go in and every monster was just friendly and just wanted to hang out, I'd be into that. But it's probably less fun for everyone.
Oh, yeah. But again, like, I get the impression that what they do is, like, they were telling us about, like, the various, like, awards and accolades and stuff that they've won, and, like, yeah. It's clearly another passion project for them, and we just love hearing people talk about stuff they're passionate about.
Yeah.
But yeah. So after that, we went back to the Airbnb.
Yep. And this was one of the major sources of stress for our weekend, which was getting tickets for another con called Origins.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about this because we're not going to ruin our review of Causeacon by talking about a different con. It is not their fault that Origins scheduled their ticketing to be opening at 1 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing to do with them. It's something we had to do because, unfortunately, with how that event works, like, you basically have to sign up for events then. Like, you don't really get a choice. You have to be at your computer signing up for events then. There's not another option.
There is not. You almost missed my graduation last year because you were doing the same thing last year.
I made it.
You did. You were the last professor to turn up, which meant every other professor was impressed with you because that's just how professors work at graduation.
For reference, he was never my student. He just chose to go to my university for a master's program because we were already engaged at that point. And I did not teach him during that master's program. We did not meet because he was my student, just to verify all that.
We also double-checked with the university beforehand whether me joining a master's program at the university while you were a professor there was fine. And they all said, well, she's not teaching you, so yes. Because you don't touch any of the master's students, like, academically speaking.
Yeah. I did not miss graduation.
You did not. But it was a close run thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we did that. It was an incredibly stressful. By the time we got there, from the time we got back, it was probably 2.5 hours that we could not have spent at the con, which I wish we could have. I would have had a lot more fun doing that, believe me.
But this was a thing we had to get sorted. But
we will talk more about that when we get to an episode on Origins. Causeacon does not deserve to get their episode derailed because we had to do something dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, we will talk about that when it comes time for the Origins episode in like 2 months. And the Origins episode, that's going to be a palaver. We might split that into multiple parts because Origins is a 5-day con.
We're talking about Origins too much now. Let's go back to talking about Causeacon.
Agreed. So after we dealt with that, one, our emotions were kind of a bit shot and fried, and
yeah, we were kind of iffy for the back half of Saturday. If you hung out with us at that point, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we made it back to the convention just in time for the cosplay contest.
Like, we timed that almost perfectly, which was nice. Their cosplay contest, by the way, fantastic. One of the best cosplay contests I've seen.
Because the rules they give you actually match what they give out.
Yep.
That's it. I'm depressed that the bar is that low for me.
It's not that low. Like, in addition to that, I find the creativity is great. A lot of people think at smaller cons you don't have people putting effort into cosplay. Here you definitely do.
Oh my god, you do.
Creativity is amazing. You might have noticed that we go to a lot of cons. We don't typically go to the cosplay contest these days. Just because there's typically other stuff on and we would rather do. And also just because a lot of them are kind of samey a lot of the time. But here, you're seeing a bunch of original character creativity. You're seeing a bunch of fun stuff. Everyone makes a lot of... It's just so cool.
Like, they actually allow for OCs here.
Yeah.
Like,
Most of these are original characters.
Yeah, a lot of cosplay contests don't allow that.
Mhm.
They don't want you being creative. They want you replicating the thing from the anime or the video game or the TV show or whatever. They want you replicating that as close as you possibly can.
Yeah, a lot of major cosplay contests have effectively just become sewing competitions. Like, that's the thing they want you to do. That's pretty much all that they want you to do, which means like giant armor builds or fursuits or original character designs or even ball gowns, because there's actually less sewing involved in some of those projects than there are in like detailed pleats on a skirt. Like, tend to get less
Attention.
This
is also one of the few cons where they have a youth category that actually has children entering.
Yep. Yeah, their youth category was great. Yeah. The kid who won, like, built, I think it was like a Mech Godzilla suit or something.
Yep, that was Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah.
A child built themselves a Mecha Godzilla suit.
Yep.
And it was great.
So we did enter this contest last year. We had a blast entering last year. We just didn't really have anything new we wanted to showcase this year because, again, my cosplays tend to be a combination of, like, thrift and design as opposed to, like, making from scratch. So there wasn't anything really new I wanted to do for this one.
Yeah.
I might try to make a new dress over the summer. We'll see. So maybe enter next year. The process is pretty straightforward. We'll talk a little bit about it just because we went through it last year, which is they stopped doing signups in advance, which I actually kind of like. You just sign up day of because they have problems with people not showing up when they sign up in advance. And then you're just kind of judged that morning.
Yeah. So you turn up to pre-judging. Yep. You basically, you sign up in one room. They basically say, okay, the judging will take about this long. So, if you get there early or you get there towards the beginning of the day and you're going to be seen quickly, you can just kind of sit down in the room. If your time slot's going to be later in the day, I believe they will just say, okay, come back here at about this time. And then you go off to another room where they will, you can talk to the judges a little bit. They'll examine as much as you're comfortable with. And I believe they also take photos at that point.
Yeah. It's super cool, super fun. When we entered last year, another thing I like about their cosplay competition is they basically give out a lot of, like, judges awards, which are just people picking costumes they like. And even though ours didn't have the most technical skill at all, like, we got a judges award just because ours looked cool, and I was really proud of that. Yeah,
we got one of the staff picks, and it's last year that particular staff member actually came up to us and was like, "I wanted to let you know I'm the one who, like, gave you that staff award because I loved this so much."
That was a pretty awesome moment.
That was really nice. We really appreciated that.
The other thing I appreciated about this particular cosplay competition, so again, we didn't enter this year, so I don't know if the rules were the exact same. One, they started fairly close to start time, which is always an impressive thing. And two, the judging actually was decided in advance. We go to a lot of cosplay competitions because the reason they have pre-judging is because you need to, like, talk about the costume, how you made it, see what technical skills are involved, give the person a chance to explain it, which is cool and I think is good.
Yeah, possibly, like, it's very common in cosplay contests that they will require you to have, like, a book of evidence of how you made it.
Yeah.
You have, like, in-progress photos and that kind of stuff. They don't tend to bother with that at, like, novice level, but once you start hitting the more advanced tiers, that's a frequent requirement.
But this time, they, like, once people finished walking across the stage and they announced everyone and they posed, like, judging was just done.
Yep.
Like, because typically they'll say it's done in advance, but then they, for whatever reason, like, have to meet for 20 minutes anyway to, like, decide other stuff. This time it was just done. Like, there was no awkward standing around. They just announced who won. It was great.
Yeah, so 4 categories, which were youth, beginner, expert, and they also have a prop master category for coolest prop.
And they gave out first, second, and third places in all of those categories. None of this, well, we had too few people to enter, so we're actually just going to give out fewer awards for no reason. Which I hate it when cons.
I hate it when cons do that.
We have a lot of feelings about cosplay competitions. We've entered them. We've been to a lot. This is one we think is well done and worth entering.
Yeah. As opposed to a lot of them, which kind of suck.
Yeah. And they also, in addition to this, as we mentioned, give out judges awards. So there's about 8 or 9 of those that they give out also. So, like, a lot of people get some stuff. Yeah,
I think it's all the sort of, like, staff positions basically get the opportunity to give out a staff award. That's just, I saw this one and thought it was particularly cool.
So I remember Mega Godzilla. The thing that won Best in Show was a fursuit, which is fantastic. You never see that at cons.
Nope.
Furries are typically barred from participating in cosplay contests because most cosplay contests don't allow original characters, which is lame.
Yep, and furries are almost entirely original characters.
Yeah. Furry One Best in Show, though. I think we're also doing some panel presentations. I might talk about that when we get to stuff that we don't go to. But that was just great to see. The thing that won second was I think first for Masters category was the Five Nights at Freddy's character, which was also a fantastic cosplay.
Yep.
It was basically like the bear. I don't know.
Freddy Fazbear.
Yeah. But it was a full body suit that was incredibly well done. And then there was, I'm trying to think if there's any other cosplays.
There was the Samus Aran.
Yeah.
Like, good lord, was that thing impressive.
Yeah.
Like, somebody had built the power suit from Metroid Dread. God, was that thing cool.
Yeah. Several ball gowns, Batman, full armor suit. The variety was amazing.
Yep, a Bastila Shan that I got a picture with, because Bastila Shan is my favorite character. Just from anything ever.
So yeah, fantastic cosplay competition. I'm glad we got that for it.
Yeah, like that was good. We, because of when we got into the room, we ended up like perching ourselves off to the side. But that actually ended up working out quite well, because that meant we could see them in close up when they went off stage.
Yeah, I actually really liked where we were.
Yeah, I don't know if we were technically supposed to go there, but we were still right behind the staff person who did not in any way try to stop us, so...
The room was pretty full at that point. For that, because of how popular the event was, they, I think, smartly opened main events in tabletop gaming, share like one of those like divider walls that you see at conventions where you can like fold it to have just one big room.
Yeah.
So they folded it up to make the room like a lot bigger, so like the cosplayers could like walk behind and there was enough seating because everyone was attending that event, and that was a smart decision.
That was a good decision. They did the same thing last year, and that was definitely the right call. Or they did it last year with what was in that room last year, because that wasn't tabletop gaming last year. But again, but no, that was a really good, well-run cosplay contest. Yeah. So, what was it after that?
After that was, I think, Disney sing-along.
Ah, yes. That was the one where we realized how messed up our emotions were for the Origins ticketing thing.
So here's the thing about endorphins. They are great when you're at those highs, which is what we were after the Origins ticketing debacle. But then about an hour or two later, you crash.
Yeah.
And that was happening during that panel.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, I really broke down in tears while we were singing along to Go the Distance from Hercules.
Mm-hmm. You broke down in tears like 6 times. It wasn't just that one song.
Yeah, but that's where it started. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't help that I literally did travel a pretty considerable distance to find where I belong, which is with you.
Uh-huh.
So that song does actually kind of hit me now more than it used to. And it's one of my, like, of the, like, so Disney has a certain class of song known as the I Want song, which is, like, usually near the beginning of the film. It's where the protagonist lays out, like, what their motivation is. You know, like, Ariel's is Part of Your World, and in Hercules it is Go the Distance. And for whatever reason, it's my favorite of the Disney I Want songs. Don't know why, it just is.
Well, Hercules is pretty much a gender-bent Disney princess. Like, he follows the same arcs and steps as they all do.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you that regard it anyway. But yeah, I happen to like that as a song. And again, like, for what, we were in the front row for that, and you know, just because we got out of the cosplay competition relatively quickly because we weren't sat down for that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, if you noticed us in the front row kind of crying, we're sorry. Yeah.
It was nothing wrong with the panel. We were just kind of emotionally yo-yoing because of the endorphins of something that was not under your control that weekend. Generally, we were both just sobbing at points of it. It was an interesting experience generally.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual panel, though, Desi ran this again. She had a full playlist that she picked out, and she picked stuff from, like, a lot of different stuff. Like, she makes sure not to just do the standard playlist. Like, you see some songs that you, like, Go the Distance, which are a little bit more common, but, like, it's stuff from everywhere. Like, Mary Poppins got a shout-out, the Muppet Movie, a bunch of stuff.
Which, yeah, it does mean that there are some songs that are a little less known that have slightly less of the audience singing along, but, yeah. Again, everybody was having fun with it. You know, she mentioned at closing ceremonies that she's thinking about not doing it next year and, like, doing something else, and there was a fairly loud outcry of no.
It's a popular panel. Like, that room was pretty full.
Yeah.
Desi can only do so much, though. And I would like to see some new stuff next year, too, I think.
So would I. But, again, like, if somebody wants to take over running that panel from her, you know, Disney Sing-Along is a reliable panel, just as fun. And
Yeah.
technically not all of it was Disney.
Yeah, I don't feel like anyone can run that panel. Like, I adore Desi and how much effort she puts into stuff, but like with that, you just need a playlist. So
Yeah.
I think it's okay if like somebody else besides her wants to run it and she does something else during that time slot.
Oh, yeah. But it is a panel we'd love to see back next year. What do we do after that? Was it the net?
That was the love game.
That was the love game, yeah. So the love game, if you're not familiar, it's pretty simple. It's based on the dating game.
Mm-hmm.
So you have one member of the audience gets pulled up, and they did this by random draw. So you just wrote your name on a Post-it note, stuck it in the jar. I put both of our names in, and then they get pulled. And the first person goes up, sits on one side of the screen, then three other people come up, sit on the other side of the screen. They went to the trouble of like having headphones with music in so that they couldn't hear who was on the other side until they were ready, and having to like face their back to the audience.
Yeah, again, it's typically done is a lot of cons have a version of this panel. It's except at one con, and that was kind of weird. It's not meant to be real. You're meant to do it like in character or just for fun or come up with like silly answers. You're not actually trying to like set people up in relationships or anything like that.
Yeah. So when I got called up in the first round, I took our Cthulhu, baby Cthulhu plush up with me and did it in character as them.
Yep, I did in character as Starry Night.
Yep.
And yeah, it's silly fun. You're playing as your character. Pretty much always runs the same way, but again, it's cute, it's fun. It's another panel where they just gave you stuff. We just got bags of candy for participating.
Yeah, bags of stuff for that one. Yeah, that was fun and silly. We ended up tapping out of that one a little early, and that's not on this panel. That's just we had enough fun. We had sufficient fun at the Farkle panel that we wanted to go to the one of the other game shows this guy was running, which was Caesar's Challenge.
Yeah, Caesar's Challenge is what it was called, and it was something for which we were noticing he was kind of having trouble getting people into his rooms all weekend. Again, I think just because he was playing games that were a bit not correctly labeled as game show panels, and they weren't like titles I think most people were familiar with, because again, this just said Caesar's Challenge panel, so unless you read the description, you wouldn't know that it was a game show.
Yeah, which again, just next year, brackets, game show.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have had a few more participants and a few more entries if you know that. So you and I both ended up playing that one.
Yeah, there just weren't a lot of people in the room, so we both just volunteered to participate.
Yep.
That's one where like you unscramble like anagrams and stuff like that.
Yep.
And you answer trivia questions to have a right to unscramble the anagrams. And it is really annoying if you don't know anything about anime or video games and you know what the anagram says and you're watching two people try to not get the word blaster despite having 5 or 6 of the letters in the word blaster already in place when you knew it before any of them were in the right position. It gets a little frustrating.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's fine. I was proud of Arietti, though. I got that in like 1.
Yeah, you did. I'd never even heard of that.
It's a Studio Ghibli film.
Of course it is.
I had fun playing it. We were still kind of just the back half of this day. We were a bit emotionally wrecked for something that was not the con's fault. I had fun playing. He was a good host. I liked the game quite a bit. It was actually a fairly exciting game because the person who I think also played the other game with you.
Yep.
I think it was the same person.
I think so.
Her name was Anastasia. That's the name she gave for the panel.
Yep. Yeah, like I took a pretty early lead because the first, I got the first question and the first anagram was relatively straightforward.
Yeah. I somehow got Arietti in 1 turn. And
yeah, like our third person was Anastasia, I believe it was like, she was behind for pretty much the entire game, and then literally on the last thing, she pipped ahead of both of us, which, good job on you. Like, congratulations.
It was fantastic, and it made for a good game. Like, I don't think any of us were like, because there were definitely some questions none of us knew. We were mostly just kind of bonding with each other over not knowing stuff.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, a fun game and an exciting one to play, and I hope that person comes back next year and that they get a bit more audience participation.
I would say so. Again, my only real issue with one of the problems you sometimes run into with trivia-based game shows at anime cons is that if you start doing a bunch of questions about one particular anime, there is a non-zero chance that none of your panelists will have seen that particular anime.
Yeah. That's the one problem I have with anime trivia, just kind of generally, is anime something you've either seen or not seen. So, like, it's just, if you haven't seen a particular thing, you're not going to know anything about it. So
But again, that's just, slightly broader questions maybe, but like that, we had a lot of fun with that panel. It was good. And once again, like giving out really good prizes.
Yeah.
Like just for participating, apparently we're each getting a like $25 Amazon gift card. Like
he did say he would email to us, which again is fine.
But like, good lord.
He was a sweet guy. I hope he comes back next year.
So do I.
Like game show panels generally.
Yeah. Again, I think the panel title I think just needs to include the word game show somewhere, just so it's clear on the schedule what it is, so more people are interested.
Yeah. They did 2 other panels that I think. One game he did on Sunday that we did not go to was opposite. Another thing we wanted to go to was Press Your Luck, and I'm hoping more people attended that just because most people know what Press Your Luck is.
Yeah. I'm also hoping that.
Yeah. So after that, we were exhausted.
Yep.
And again, this is earlier than we typically leave, and this is, again, not on the con. It's just, we were tired.
Yeah. We'd been through kind of an emotional, like, roller coaster.
Yeah.
Which, again, we'll talk about more in a future episode, but yeah.
But we did have fun with all the stuff we did today. I kind of wish the dog stuff had been after the Origins ticketing debacle. That would have been a really good time to pet dogs.
Yeah.
But other than that, no complaints. I liked all the panels we went to that day.
Yeah. Yeah, was there anything else we did that day?
I'm pretty sure those were the only things.
Yeah.
Again, there were other stuff we talked about doing. We briefly went to the back of the Whose Line Is It Causeacon panel because they had a plus 18 version of that the night before. Then they had a regular version of that that day.
Yeah.
But we
did not have the mental energy.
Yeah, we were in the back of it for like a minute. It seemed like they were having fun and engaging the audience, but we were just too tired. And we were just like, no, I can't be bothered. Yeah. I just can't.
Yeah. And again, that's not on the panel.
No.
That's the fault of Origins. So yeah, so we tapped at that point.
Yeah.
Headed back to the Airbnb. Fire a Dairy Queen because like
I wanted ice cream.
Yeah. And again, fortunately, there was one that was pretty convenient for our Airbnb, so worked out.
So our Airbnb did have a bunny. Again, we're not an Airbnb review podcast, but there was just a wild bunny. Or if someone's pet, they just kind of let roam around, just hanging outside that we saw all weekend.
Yeah, like
it was cool.
Yeah, adorable white bunny. Like, we saw it on Saturday morning, and we were just like, oh, I didn't notice that last night. That's a cool statue. And then it moved. But yeah.
So
Sunday, again, got up relatively early. Just kind of took our time, doing a kind of chill out wake up. Then, packed up the car, got on the road, did all that jazz. Again, packing up the car for a con. Put as much stuff into bags as you can. It will make your life easier. Like obviously there are a couple of ball gowns back there that do not fit in bags, helpfully, but
pretty basic. We were up early because we went to bed early, so we just hung around the Airbnb. We got there a little bit early. They wouldn't let us in until 10, which again, valid.
Yeah.
We were there super early.
Yeah, we got there at like
9:30.
9:30, 9:40-ish.
It's cool. We just chilled in the car for 30 minutes. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah. And then we got in and people were immediately directing us to Squid Game because another thing Desi does is really trying to encourage people to participate. She's great about that. So
well, she wasn't the one who actually did all the legwork on this one.
She didn't, but she was directing people to the room.
Yeah.
But her sister Chelsea, this was her big thing that she wanted to do.
What was this?
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was that was Squid Game, so I want to take a second.
Are you gonna rant about Squid Game?
Yeah, again, I've not actually watched Squid Game. It's just there do seem to be a lot of people taking the wrong lesson from Squid Game. Like the fact that like real mature.
Somebody wrote something in dust in the back of their car. I'll let you.
It was very mature.
It honestly was about as immature as you possibly could get.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even a good version of dirty. It was just dumb.
Yeah. We just have higher standards for that.
Well, I hope that's somebody pranking their friend where, like, they wrote that on the back of their car and their friend just hasn't noticed.
Yeah.
That's at least somewhat funny.
Yeah. Anyway. But no, I was just going to say, like, between is it Netflix making an actual, like, official Squid Game show and the Mr. Beast show? Like, I feel like there are some people who have learned the wrong lessons from it. I would argue this con did not learn the wrong lesson, because like there are zero stakes to doing Squid Game at a con.
Well, it's also like the thing that Squid Game like taught people that I already know is that like these games we play as children are just fun. Like they're fun. We should be able to play them more as adults. Like they're awesome, they're fun, they're silly, it's cute.
Yeah.
You don't need the death part. They did a good job with they kind of did go all out with the costumes and stuff. Though.
Oh, they went all out with the costumes.
There were like people there in masks. They were spraying people who were eliminated with water.
Yep. Yeah, you were shot with water guns.
Yes. And they did warn people that there would be some themes of violence, but I'm pretty sensitive to violence, and I thought the violence was all like way too like cartoonish and like not real to like be serious.
Yeah. They did make us sign a waiver, so I actually participated.
Yeah.
I was number 4 because they gave us numbers. The numbers were literally assigned to us just based on the order in which we signed up.
Yeah. And they let people who were not participating go in and sit down, which I appreciated.
Yep.
I just hung out and talked to some people.
Yep.
And one thing about Causeacon we'll probably talk about at the end of our review, it's a con where like you can sit down next to anybody and just have a conversation with them.
Oh yeah. Which a couple of people did to us at various points of the weekend.
So a person sat down next to me who I think was volunteering at the con, and we just talked for like about 20 minutes while you guys were getting ready out in the hallway.
Yep. Yeah, so the getting ready part mostly amounted to I was stood in a line kind of waiting for stuff to happen.
Yep.
But again, like I was one of the first people to sign up. Like as I said, I was number 4, and I think there were 40-ish people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, it just took a little while. And again, the one thing I will say is, I was aware of, they told us straight up at the beginning that like the death was going to be done by spraying water at us. So if you've got anything you don't want getting wet, take it out your pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So with about 2 or 3 minutes left until the panel was due to start, I basically sort of ran into the panel room and left my phone and my wallet and that kind of stuff with you.
Yeah. And I will say for some people, they didn't shoot them. Like some of the younger kids, I don't think they actually shot with water or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they did, I think the age limit was supposed to be 12. There were some kids who looked a little borderline, but I'm not going to like check IDs.
Yeah. Again, if you were too young to sign the waiver yourself, there was a parental guardian signature option.
And I think parental guardian is the way to do it. Like that game's probably not appropriate for a 5-year-old, but there was no one that young, and I trust parents for like ages between that to like decide their kids' like level of
maturity
doing a slightly more intense game.
Yeah. So yeah, so they basically just took a number of the games that were done as part of the show. Started with red light, green light, obviously. And I made it through that one. Then the next one was one where you had to they would call out a number, and a certain number of people and that number of people had to be in a box. Mm-hmm. And there are a limited number of boxes, and that kind of thing.
You have to have exactly that many people, and you refuse to betray children. So
I totally I got betrayed by the child before I had the, again, I say child, I'm pretty sure teenager is more accurate, but yeah.
Basically, there was a group next to them that needed one additional person, and their group also, like, I think it
was our group also needed one additional person.
Yeah.
So one of the 3 people in our group kind of, like, dived into the box for that group, and their friend who they left behind with me was just like, really, dude? It was great. You didn't hear that part because we were across the room from you. But yeah, like, it was like, oh, I'm remembering this.
Oh, kids.
Yeah, that was great.
It was cute to see the like little story bonds that happened with that. There was also just some guy who like found out he was going to be eliminated because there was one person left. I think it was like groups of 3, and just ran into a group that already had 3 people to eliminate the 3 of them.
Group of 2.
Yeah. But he eliminated 2.
Yeah, it was groups of 2. So he just like, he realized he was on his own, and he just like walked into a box with 2 kids. Which did get a really good reaction from the crowd of like, oh, that's cold.
Yeah.
And he was just like, didn't want to die alone.
It was very silly fun. Like with the masks, it might have been a little bit scary if you were like 4 or 5 years old, but I don't think like beyond that it was.
Yeah, it was silly fun. Like we enjoyed it. They did do a so eventually we had the final winner.
Yeah.
There was like a special prize, and like again, this was a thing they put a lot of work and effort into. Like I really respect them for that.
Yeah. Again, it was thematically appropriate. I have seen Squid Game type things done at cons poorly. This was done about as well as it could be. It was very cute. It was fun to watch. It eliminated the right amount of people in the right order so that like everyone got to play a little bit, but you didn't have like 40 people on like the floor for that long.
Yep.
And the final was a mom and son actually, which was very funny.
Yeah, playing. How did they describe it?
It was like rock, paper, scissors, Russian roulette. There's some type of spoilers for Squid Games. I don't care about the games and Squid Games being spoiled, but like,
yeah,
it was something from Squid Game season 2, I presume.
Yeah. Yeah, which again, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was fun.
You know, and this was Russian roulette with a Nerf gun for the record.
Again, it was cute, it was silly, and very well done. And I hope they do it again because it was a big hit. I think I had about 40 participants total, which is again a pretty good number. And this was another one where you were given free stuff just for participating.
Yep. The one thing I will say is that they were definitely pushing the boundaries of how many people that room could handle.
Yeah.
You might want to consider opening up the things for that next year.
Or just doing it outside. That's a possibility.
Yeah, if it's warm enough, maybe.
If it's warm enough and the weather holds up. I know that's a risky thing to assume, but like...
Yeah.
This weekend, I think it would have worked outside.
Probably. If they've got... I don't know, actually, if they do have a, like, wide enough open space.
Well, they were doing Jedi stuff outside on Saturday night.
Yeah, this is true.
So they might have had a space like in that courtyard area.
Again, things to think about for next year. But like, I had a lot of fun. How was your experience watching for the audience?
Again, I had fun. I had fun talking to the person next to me because we were talking back and forth for a little bit during it. Also, because you can bring pets, the person who always brings their Cavalier King Charles Spaniel was sitting next to me, so I got to play with a dog. Which again, I like the fact that this con lets you bring animals.
Oh, we didn't actually talk about costumes for today.
Oh yeah. So I'm dressed as the Raven, and you're dressed as Edgar Allan Poe, or at least you were, but you don't keep your eye makeup on like you're supposed to.
My eye makeup's still kind of there.
No, it's not.
Kind of. Now I just look like I'm kind of sleepy, as opposed to completely insane. But yeah, another big ball gap for you, which again,
standard,
but a lot of fun. But yeah, like as I say, I had fun with the Squid Game panel. I also appreciate the fact that like at the end of it, we did a I think they took it as a TikTok video.
Yeah.
Where it's just like they had the winner, standing at the front, and they were gonna have all of us like in one big group photo, and somebody was like, should we all lay down like we're dead? I don't think that was planned, but it was such a good idea that everybody...
It looked incredible. Like, you couldn't see it from the audience, but it was a really cool shot.
Yeah. I had my tongue lolling a bit just for comedy.
People were definitely playing it up. One person couldn't even, like, I think lay down just because they had a disability, so they were, like, sitting in, like, playing dead on top of someone else's body, so they didn't have to bend their back. It looked great.
Nice. Yeah, I missed that completely because I was busy being dead.
It was an amazing visual and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
After that was bingo.
Yep.
Which, they had 70 prizes for bingo.
75.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were giving a lot of stuff away. A lot of bingo going on. We did win relatively early on, so I got you a plushy dog thing.
Yeah, it was cute. Bites things.
Yep.
It's perfectly safe. I was pretty satisfied with that. It was cute. I know you don't like bingo as much as I do. It's just kind of a nice, fun, like, idle thing to kind of do. But it was cute. Sorry, I've said that like 4 times. You should say something so, like, I can not say something. You commentate on it.
Okay. So, as a bingo panel goes, this is one of the better, like, this is one of the things, like, most of the panels that this con does are concepts that we've seen done elsewhere.
Yeah.
This con just does them better than most other places. Like, the sheer quantity of...
pretty much if you're, like, with a group of people, they had 100 bingo cards to hand out, which I think was about the right number. They did have 2 or 3 people walk in a little bit late who couldn't get one, but for the most part, everyone who was in the room at the time the bingo started got one. Yeah.
Yeah, you and I did... If we'd... So, again, because we were there relatively early and I was relatively close, I got us one each.
Yeah.
If we'd seen that, like, there was one person left who didn't have one and was disappointed, I would have handed them one of ours. We would have been fine sharing one. And again, a lot of... So your pad of cards got, like, 10 different... So each thing had 3 bingo cards on it that you were playing simultaneously. and then there was 10 of those on each pad.
And for reference, none of us like play like the actual like gamblers version of bingo, so I don't know what's like normal for a bingo pad, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it because of the sheer amount of prizes. Generally, as long as you were like with a group of people, statistically, because there were like 75 prizes and 100 people, some people did win more than once.
Yeah.
But like, if you were part of a group of like 3 or 2 people, chances are statistically somebody in your group is going to win something at some point.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah. And it was just a case of, it wasn't now we're playing for this thing. It was come up and take your pick from the prize table.
Yeah. So we could get like stuff that they like.
Yeah. They had like one grand prize at the end, which was a Gremlin Funko Pop, but it was a big one.
Yeah.
Which was, I've never seen a big Funko Pop before. That was interesting.
It was very cool looking. It had like 3D glasses on. We weren't terribly interested in winning it, so at that point I think we also just like handed our blackout cards to like the kids next to us who were playing.
Yep. Apparently it was one away from winning at the end. Because we wanted to make sure we were in plenty of time for the next panel, which was the Mario Party panel.
This again is a panel that I've seen at a lot of cons that is done the best at this con.
I've only seen this at one other con.
Well, it was done so poorly at that con that this one still is
It barely counts.
Yeah.
But like, so
I'm not going to throw shade at that con by naming it.
We're not. But so you might wonder, why would people playing Mario Party be interesting to watch? Anybody can play Mario Party. Yeah, no, they built a physical version of it.
Yep. Mario Party in real life.
Yep. It's kind of bonkers. Which sums up 2/3 of what they've done for this con. Like, I'm not kidding.
And Desi, again, designed all of this.
Yep. So they've got, they've got a track that you move around. They use cones to represent your character, but the track isn't quite large enough for you to stand on it comfortably.
And when I say cones, they used to have, because we, for whatever reason, last year we were just given some of the styrofoam cones they used to have. Now they have, like, traffic cones that they, like, painted and put decals on. Like, they look like they're, like, professionally made traffic cones that are, like, your peace bobs that you move around the board.
Yep. And, when you see, normally when you play Mario Party, you have to select a character. You have to do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you have to get dressed up.
Yeah, there's costumes for all the characters, and they give you advantages and disadvantages in the mini games. Like, some of the characters have gloves, and that makes certain events, like tasks where you have to pick up stuff, harder. Some of the characters have, like, inflatable. Like,
a big head.
Yeah, so it's harder for you to maneuver under stuff.
So, yeah, like, it's just, again, so well thought out. And again, it operates exactly like regular Mario Party. So you're rolling dice, which in this case are large and inflatable. You're moving that number of spaces, different things happen, everybody gets a turn, and then there's a mini game. And again, like, they design, so many cool mini games. Yeah,
there's one where you have to blow up a balloon and then pop it. You don't particularly like that one.
I'm not a fan of that one, but that's just because, like, I'm one of those people who doesn't like, sudden loud noises.
My personal favorite is ones where they, like, have Velcro balls on people's backs. So, like, they have balls that are
stuck to their backs. They have to get a bunch of balls onto their front.
Yep.
And they're also just having balls thrown at them. It's complete chaos.
And the game's pretty well designed, so it can be played by somebody of any age. It can't be played by somebody in a ball gown, but, I don't expect to be playing physical games at cons.
So again, entry for that is just a case of you get given a ticket. Mm-hmm. They pull 4 tickets out of the hat,
and they do 2 games, so 8 people.
Yep.
So our names have still never been picked, but
no, but again, we've only been to this particular event twice.
And again, we're not like itching to play. It is quite fun just to watch, also.
Like, if I have the opportunity to, I will absolutely destroy those small children.
Yeah, I think there was like a 5-year-old in one of the games this time.
Yeah, that was just adorable. So yeah.
But yeah, it's incredibly fun to watch. It's incredibly well thought out. Like, Desi made or designed like all the props and things that they used, or like bought them, and like it's so well done.
It is.
And it's so cute.
So yeah.
And that is another panel where they just raffle off stuff at the end to give away.
Yep.
Because they give away so much stuff at this con.
Yeah, they basically said, keep your tickets even if you don't get to play the game, because they had some prizes to raffle off at the end.
Yep.
So yeah, then a little bit of a short break before, I think after that it was just closing ceremonies, wasn't it?
Yep. So
again, just went to the board game room for a little bit, chill out, Played a couple of rounds of So Clover, which is our current go-to con game.
Simple, easy to pack. And then we went back in for closing, which
Yep.
had another raffle where you could win more stuff.
Yeah, so much stuff. And yeah, closing ceremony at this one's relatively simple. They basically just stand up on stage and
people tell about what they liked about the con.
Yep.
Then they make a couple of announcements. They announce the winner for, what's it called again? The Madness thing?
Causeacon Madness.
Causeacon Madness. This year, Mr. Rogers won. And they announced that the 4 characters that won Causeacon Madness in its previous years would be brought back to participate next year, which is super cool.
Yep. So there'll only be 60 new things this year or next year.
They did announce that their gaming thing, they do a gaming type of con in July, I think. Wasn't happening this year, which is sad.
It is. We weren't able to make it down last year. We might have considered it this year, but again.
Video game cons don't tend to be as much our thing in terms of stuff we like to do, so we tend to limit those a little bit more. Although I don't doubt that this would be an incredibly well-run one.
Again, I think it's just, it wasn't pulling the numbers they needed to justify it, which is sad, but I get it.
We had fun. And they had the person who, the ribbon game's not really something that, there's a winner and loser at, but they did pull somebody on the stage who I think had collected, every ribbon that was possible there.
I don't know if they've got every ribbon, but, they had enough ribbons that their stream was taller than they were.
There was a person who, sat while we were playing, Caesar's Challenge. They sat next to us until there was a break in play so they could ask us for ribbons.
Yes. Because they were just I heard you have a ribbon, and I was like, there you go.
Yep.
And then the person who was playing the game with us was just like, can I get one of those after this? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, new policy. If you're at a con with us and you compliment Caroline's dress, you're getting a ribbon.
Okay. I'm not sure we should make that the thing they have to do, because I don't want people complimenting me who don't actually want to compliment me.
Yeah, but people want to compliment you. And they deserve to be rewarded for having the courage to come up and tell you how awesome you are.
I don't have a counter to that, I guess.
Ha ha. So yeah, and at that point, got in the car, swung by the petrol station, and then got on the road home and started recording.
So, that's the basics of what we did. Again, we can't do everything at cons. At this con, I'm honestly disappointed we couldn't do more just because we were so exhausted with end of the semester stuff because it's such a good con.
It is.
But we'll talk about some of the stuff we did not do.
Yep. We always like to do this section of some of the various other options. So, as we said, they did do a couple of Who's Line panels. We do very much enjoy Who's Line panels. We did them last year.
Mm-hmm.
A plus 18 version that was audience participation, and a not plus 18 version that was just them.
We went last year, had a good time.
Yep.
Hopefully no one's chair broke and they fell into the back of the wall this year. That did happen last year.
Was that?
Yes, that was that.
Yeah.
Other than that, they did have a Zen room. We didn't really go into it, but it seemed very Zen. You walked past it.
Always appreciate a room that you can go to kind of relax and chill out in if you need to. My main problem with those rooms is that they tend to reach a point where if you do need that chill out space, they can have enough people in them that it's a little hard to. But I don't know if that's more I've seen that problem occur elsewhere. I didn't see it occur here, but
we didn't really go into it. It did help that because the tabletop room was a lot bigger this year, that I think just kind of became additional seating space for people who needed it. So, because that's where we went whenever we needed somewhere to just kind of sit down for a few minutes. And I think a lot of people did that.
I think so. And again, I'm very glad they moved things around the way they did this year. I think it largely was, largely the right decision. Yeah,
part of why they moved tabletop was because bingo was so popular with 100 people playing, they just needed a bigger space for it. It worked a lot better in the space this year.
Yeah, it did.
Other than that, there were a couple concerts. Oh, they also had a video game room like most cons do. We didn't really spend any significant time in there, but they had video game tournaments all weekend. That's pretty standard for cons.
Yep. Again, walked through it. Looked pretty normal, standard fun. I'm sure the people in there had a good time.
They also had a room just devoted to RPGs this weekend, where you do games. So they had Cyberpunk Red. That was one of their campaigns.
So, a bunch of D&D, that kind of thing. Which, again, as we mentioned towards the beginning of this podcast, we didn't go in there specifically just because we didn't want to interrupt the people who were trying to RP. We understand the importance of a good RP session sometimes.
And it is nice to have a separate space for it, because one of the major problems of having RP at cons is just, with RP, you need to be able to hear people around you to really do it, and in a lot of cons, if there's a lot of crosstalk, it's hard. So having a separate space for it probably made that a little bit easier.
Yeah. Again, especially if you're trying to like roleplay a slightly more intense scene, you need to be like a little more quiet, and you don't want to be shouting across a table.
They had a couple concerts, so Lennox concert, scan the schedule for concerts.
Was there a second one?
I think there was. I think it was like a Blue Shell concert or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Blue Shell Paradox concert. Yeah. So a couple concerts. They had the rave on Saturday night, which is, raves at cons are mostly just dances. Like, that's all that they really are.
Do we want to talk about what happened to us last year?
What? I'm not sure I remember.
You remember. So last year at Causeacon, for reasons that we do not understand.
Oh, I do remember this.
There you go. On our way out on, was it the Friday or was it the Saturday?
I'm pretty sure it was the Friday, because I remember it was after the formal ball when we left.
Yeah. So we got stopped by the cops. It wasn't just us. They had like a stop set up outside the convention in both directions on the main road, so you couldn't like leave the con without getting stopped. Doing like, they had the drug sniff dog walk around the car. They,
we're doing like just checking to make sure you seem sober.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do anything more than that, I think, because again, we're kind of low on the scale of people you think would be doing drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, but like we were just like, really? There was no alcohol at this event. Like, this was the most family-friendly con we've ever been to.
Yeah, they don't sell alcohol. I'm pretty sure they don't even really allow it. We were just kind of confused.
Yeah.
That did not happen this year. I think maybe they just realized it was probably not an event that needed that much effort.
Yeah.
But in fairness, we did leave fairly early in the night. Like, it was still light out when we left most days.
Yeah, but like, it was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so,
It's the only con we've ever been to where that's been a thing. We've definitely been to cons, also nice, because we're passing exit 169 now.
Nice. Yeah, we've been to cons before that probably should have had that kind of scrutiny, whereas this is not a con that needed it, so we suspect that's why the police did not bother this year.
Or maybe they bothered later, I don't really know.
Who knows, but yeah. It's one of those funny stories.
Yeah, and again, that's not on the con. They can't control what the police do.
It might just be the Beckly police force was kind of bored.
Yeah.
And they just heard that, like, there was going to be an anime convention in town, and, like, they'd heard the stories about things like Dragon Con.
And I do get that, like, raves make you think, like, a certain thing about, like, drugs and alcohol, but raves at cons are just dances. They're just cold raves. It's a dance. That's all it really is.
Yeah. Again, a bunch of the cons have deliberately stopped using the word rave just because, it has certain connotations. Again, at this con, it just means there's going to be dancing and the music will be energetic. That's it.
So in addition to that stuff, they had an aerial show this year, which was interesting. Cosmic Wonderland, which is an aerial show where that was just in main events, and she, I think, did some spinning.
Yep, I get the impression that people had good things to say about that.
Yeah, we did meet this person in the hallway a couple times, and they seemed pretty cool and nice and complimented my dress. So.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I lose track.
This person was a bit on the shorter side, like shorter than me short. You definitely saw her a couple times.
I almost certainly did.
They also had continued the lightsaber shows and lightsaber classes where they teach you how to use a lightsaber.
Which, if that's your thing, great.
Cut the back of half of that a little bit last year just because there wasn't much on. It seemed like it was well done.
Yep. And again, I'm a...
They had a bunch of pinball machines and a pinball tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They also had a Hungry Hippos tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I saw the sets when we were in the hall at one point for Hungry Hippos, but silly and fun. A couple of TGC tournaments. A couple in-character panels where people like dress up in character and like you ask them questions in character for various events.
Yep. They also had their what's it officially called? Is it Furry at My Anime Convention panel, which again is a furry or a group of furries talking about the furry fandom. As people were at a furry convention last week, we didn't really feel the need to go to that, but it seemed pretty well attended when
it
we
did,
walked past
and the person who I think was running it was the person who won the cosplay competition with their fursuit. And they seemed like this con seems very inclusive of the idea of furries. It seemed like very popular as a panel, and I'm glad about that.
Yeah.
Furries are kind of strange, and they get kind of a bad rap unfairly.
I would agree.
They also have a charity auction for their charity.
Yep, we missed that because
yeah, we probably would have gone to that had we not been
dealing with the shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. They had a couple. A lot of in-character panels. They had a couple of just like cosplay and anxiety panels and how to get over that.
Which again, we kind of caught the last 5 minutes of one of those just because we were going into that panel room for the next thing, and they seem to be getting along pretty well.
They had a panel about, I think, a documentary film. So Away was their charity. Away is a domestic violence charity. So they did have a late night panel talking about domestic violence and how to avoid it, and like signs and how to help somebody who was in it, which was very cool.
Yep.
So Away is the charity they're sponsoring, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. General like Guitar Hero tournaments, stuff like that.
Yep. Again, various video game tournaments.
And I want to apologize again if you're from the con and we didn't like listen to a specific thing that you really liked or enjoyed. It's kind of boring if we go over like the entire schedule in excruciating detail, so we tend to leave some stuff out if we didn't actually attend or do it. But if you really enjoyed something, awesome.
Yeah. We're only human. We're going to miss things.
Yeah. They also had some Q&A panels by the people who were there.
Yeah.
The other person I did not mention earlier, because I think I mentioned Alex Vincent, is Chris Turliga Farad. I probably just offended you more than I would by not saying your name. They were cool though and went to the Danganronpa panel, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a reserved seat set out for them.
Which again, fair. They were in Danganronpa.
Yep. But yeah.
So yeah, those were the, I think, main things we did.
Yep.
So now it's time for top con moments.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to say the Danganronpa panel.
I was also going to say the Danganronpa
You're going to be annoyed that I've already called dibs on that.
I think I... Did you go first last time? Because I think
No, you went first last time.
Damn.
Ha ha.
Dick.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
It is actually your name. So, Danganronpa panel for you, so it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to call out the vendors hall this time. I don't normally do that, but, like, I got an amazing, like, fighting goose and a spooky Bulbasaur and some great artwork by Desi. Like, A+ vendors hall.
Mm-hmm. Alright, just changing lanes. There we go. So, I'm trying to think next moment. Honestly, despite the fact that our emotions were completely out of whack, the Disney sing-along panel, like I'm always a big fan of those.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun to just be in a room with people and sing. And it's hard because it's not a specific moment, but we have to say it. Part of what we love about this con is the vibes. Like, this is a con where, like, people will just come up and talk to you about, like, pretty much anything and compliment you and, like, want to have a conversation. And when I say this con is the most West Virginian of any con, I mean that in the sense that this is the type of hospitality I pretty much don't see anywhere but West Virginia. It's just amazing of how, like, welcoming and inclusive people are.
I will take your word for that. I don't know enough about, like, American state stereotypes to appreciate that. And then last one, and again, for the record, none of the... Yep. When we do, like, top 3 moments at cons, they're not in any order. Like, at all. So this is kind of hyper-specific, but the moment of, like, friendship dice rolling during the Mario Party panel, where, like, they just handed the 2 giant inflatable dice to 2 random members of the audience. Through the power of friendship, rolled a 12.
Yep.
That was hilarious. That was,
That was a lot of fun. And I like that they got the audience members more involved by just having them, like, roll around the giant inflatable dice.
Yep.
I might go with the cosplay contest. The cosplay contest was so well done and so much fun.
Yeah, there was some really, really cool stuff in that. Like, If we met you this weekend and we did not, and you were in the cosplay contest, we didn't shout you out personally, you did amazing.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in that was phenomenal. Sorry about that. As you might have gathered, we do not edit this. Because that is hard, and I'm too lazy.
And we do this as a thing to distract us on the drive home a lot of the time. So.
Yep.
But yeah, this con always gives me the warm fuzzies. As I think I've mentioned before, when we're choosing cons for the most part, and when I say we, I mean me.
Yes, you do the planning.
Yeah. I generally look at fanconventions.com and just kind of go through the list and see what's close to us. That's most of how I pick. Sometimes there's not stuff on the list and I have to do a bit more digging. But this one was just last year. I was on a list. It was random. I was like, I want to go to a con. You were like, why do you want to go to a con on like the week before graduation? That seems like a horrible time to go to a con. And you're right, it is. But I'm glad we went last year, and I'm glad we went this year, because this is such a unique find. Like,
it is.
I really want this con to continue.
So do I.
Attendants were horrible at guessing.
Seemed good. Like, I'm going to be honest, if they get many more people, they're going to have trouble with the venue. Because they are, certainly at busy times on Saturday, I think they were reaching the limit of what the venue can take.
That's fair. But Friday and Sunday still tend to be less crowded, and I do think it's worth getting a 3-day badge if you're local to this con.
Absolutely.
There's enough stuff to do. If nothing else, just so you can go to the Danganronpa panel again on Friday.
Put it in main events next year. You're still missing one.
I said the cosplay contest.
Oh, yeah, you
cosplay
did. Sorry.
Contest, hanging out with people, and the vendors hall.
Yeah.
Also petting. And when I say people, I also mean all the animals, and all the animals who I got to pet this weekend.
Yep.
Including the turtle. It was cute because we asked a question about the turtle, and like the person who owns the turtle picked up the turtle because you asked like how that we knew if it was a boy or a girl, and they explained it.
Yeah, because I think one of us like mentioned. Yeah, I think we referred to it with a gendered pronoun, and I think I said, yeah, he's pretty nippy, isn't he? Or is it a she? And they're like, oh, it's they said it's hidden male, and I was like, oh, cool. How on earth do you tell that?
And yeah, they picked him up to show like he has indentions on his belly because I'll just say the male turtles need that and the female turtles don't need that, and you can think about why that's the case.
Yep. Again, Safe for Work podcast.
Yes.
We're not talking about animal husbandry. So,
you okay?
Yeah. I'm starting to need my next caffeine hit.
That's fair. Well, we can sign off pretty soon because we're trying to keep this episode less than 3 hours long.
Yeah, we're less than 3 hours long. Like, we still got an hour to go until we get home.
Okay, we can keep talking for an hour about like how awesome Desi and her con is.
But yeah. So this was just... It's a very wholesome con.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to anyone if we seemed a bit more distant this weekend than maybe we were last year or anything like that. It's a combination of end of the semester and the debacle stuff with Origins, which we will explain in a later episode, so we'll build tensions for that, but that's not a strike against your con in any way.
Yeah. Any
critiques we had of your con were extremely minor. We really love this convention.
We do. It's such a nice con.
It is.
Like
everything's well thought out. Everyone here is so nice to everyone else. Sorry, I was interrupting your speech about how nice the con was.
Yeah, it was just going to be like, it's a relatively relaxing con. Like, there are some cons where we're like constantly bouncing around and like, yeah, again, there are a couple of gaps in the schedule that it would be nice if they were not there, but like.
And I would also say maybe like think about like not pairing game show events against game show events, because that's gonna like make everyone go to one rather than the other.
Yep. But again, like these are the minor criticisms we're throwing out. Like,
it's really good. All of your events are fantastic. I loved everything we went to this weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a 3-hour drive. It's at a really inconvenient time of year for us, but I still want to go back next year.
Yeah. Like again, our final con ranking, as we usually do, is, it comes down to one question. Would we go back next year? And there are a lot of factors that go into that. We've been to plenty of cons that were pretty good, but that weren't worth the drive to get there and back. This one is.
Yeah.
Like, I say that without any hesitation, that unless some weird shenanigans happen next year, like it ends up being the same weekend as actual graduation, which we have to be at, I think we want to come back next year.
Yeah, we do. And if you're at all in the local area, like, it's definitely worth going to.
Yeah.
Like, it's such fun. It's such a great environment. The cosplay is great. The people are great. It allows pets.
So yeah. Overall, really great convention. Like, we love this one to bits.
We do.
And most of that does come down to the sheer, like, passion of the people running it.
Yeah. It
And again,
shows in everything they do.
Yeah, like, we call out Desi specifically as the con chair, but, like, it's true of basically everybody who's involved in this con.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody is pulling less than 115% of their weight.
Yeah, it's great to have a great staff, and you can tell when cons are functional by the fact that their staff gets along, which theirs definitely does.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of them are sisters, so I'm sure there's some stuff happening there, but
Yeah.
they don't let it affect their relationship.
So, as we cross back into Ohio,
Woot woot, and past a graveyard.
oh yeah, that's not
That's
symbolic at
ominous.
all.
We should probably keep talking for like half a second till we get past it.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing I keep meaning to do that I forgot to do last week, even though I said I was going to. If you're interested in contacting us, the Con Couple now has an official email at which you can contact us.
You didn't put that in the show notes for last week?
No, I put it in the show notes. I just forgot to say it aloud.
That's true.
So if you're interested in getting in touch with us for any particular reason, you can contact us at concouplepodcast@gmail.com.
That's concouplepodcast@gmail.com.
I kept it as simple as I possibly could when I created it. We also have a link tree, which has all of our various locations where this podcast is able to be found. We've made business cards now, so we can start advertising this at a convention. We have ribbons.
We do. The requirements are not compliment me, but basically just come up to us and ask for a ribbon.
Yeah,
that's the requirement.
That's the actual requirement. But if you don't know we have ribbons and you compliment her, I'll give you a ribbon.
Or if you're a kid.
Or if you're a kid.
Or a kid at heart.
Yep.
Except that's most people.
That's most people, yeah.
So also, with that email address, we do accept quote-unquote business inquiries. As our podcast grows, we are interested in interviewing people who work at conventions or staff conventions or own conventions to kind of understand why they make the decisions that they make.
Yep.
Because sometimes we don't know. And it's always useful to hear their side and perspective on things. So if you're a former person who's attended a con or works at a con or owns a con and you want to be on this podcast to talk about your experience, either a con that we've already attended or are going to attend, or just a con generally,
we are open to those communications.
Yes.
We have not yet planned any official process or like any.
Unless you're willing to join us in our car. But you're probably not willing to do that, so we'll have to set up a different thing for you to do.
Yeah.
That's not join us in our car.
But yeah, so or if you own a convention and want to offer us a free badge to come to your convention, we are also open to those conversations. For the record, even if you offer us a free badge, you'll still get our completely honest opinions because we're not good at moderating ourselves in that regard.
We're really not.
That's why this podcast is like 2 hours long.
But we will give your podcast like 2 hours of content where we talk about as much excruciating detail as we possibly can. We'll also like giving each other side eye. Yeah.
The side eye is an important element.
It is. So next week we're doing Buckeye Game Fest, our first gaming con of the year. Well, not of the year. We've gone to a couple. We didn't start recording this till after the last one we went to.
Yeah.
We do have a secret episode we recorded of CincyCon.
I love the fact you call it a secret episode.
You won't let us release it. That's why it's secret.
Yeah, it was the pilot.
It's the exact same.
You do a pilot to work out the bugs and the kinks and all of that stuff.
But we didn't do any of that. It's the exact same format as all of this.
No, it's not. Trust me on this.
I mess up our intros just as much on that as I do on these.
Yeah, I know, but we did that one twice, so, I mean, to be fair, the first one is unlistenable because that's before we bought the lapel mics. We just tried to record it straight on the phone.
That did not work.
It did not work. Like, the microphone just on a phone sat between the pair of us isn't good enough when you're in a car.
Okay, you talk about like our intros and how we need to get better at those. Like every time we go to do an outro, we always talk about like stuff for like 10 extra minutes after that.
Yeah, that's how outros work.
Is it?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
So join us next week. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, good.
So,
join us next week for Buckeye Game Fest. That's a GameCom. We'll talk more about it.
Yep.
Probably a week from Sunday. That one starts on Thursday, though.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that out, but you know.
Oh, I've already figured it out.
Of course you have. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and we hope to, we hope you'll hear us again next week, and if not, thank you very much.